And welcome everybody on LG. This is W. Wright, and I am here with the Young Buck, or as other names he likes to call himself. And this is the first episode of the Scrub and the Ego podcast, brought to you by a bunch of losers. Hi everyone. As I said before, we are not losers. Hi everyone. This is Dudley Do Right here, and today we have the Young Buck here. Now, if you don't know exactly what this is a little new endeavor that him and I decided to do, and we're just throwing it on your faces right now. Say hi to everybody, Buck.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing today?
Simply fantastic. I am good, and it's good to see that you're doing okay as well. So before we move on to what we want to talk about, we just want to talk about this here real quick. This is something new that we're doing. It's something a little different. It's a different format, and we're going to try and see how much we can go with this.
Yeah, we're just trying to change it up, do a different style of media, and maybe the two of us can put out some more product every now and then.
All right, simply fantastic. All right, so now that being said, go ahead, Buck. What do you want to talk about today?
So considering that LG season hasn't started yet, and we are kind of getting into the NHL19, we were going to talk about that a bit. Pros, cons, Dudley being a forward, me being a goalie, different things that we've seen throughout the game, things we want to talk about. So I figured, Dudley, I know you play center naturally, and you've played quite a bit. What do you think of the game so far for you?
Excuse me. All right, well.
Play-wise, anyways.
Yeah, well, first of all, I actually like the game, surprisingly enough. I think it's actually, well done. Actually, I'm not going to lie to you. The skating engine actually makes a difference, and the ability to hit people, for the most part, has become easier, but it's not nerfed. The only thing that I don't like is that stick lifts are way too effective. But other than that, I think the poke check allows for you to, let's say, not spam, and you have to decide whether you want to actually make a good poke or not. But other than that, though, in the couple of weeks the game's been out, I feel I'm still trying to get used to it. But I think the engine's fine. I think the skating is fantastic. Like I said, my only criticism is really the stick lifts. Not sure about goalies. I haven't played defense yet, but other than that, I like the way it runs. You have to be smart, and
yeah, exactly.
You can't be stupid, pretty much. If you're a player on LG last season, that kind of got away with a lot of pokes and was able to
You're fucked.
Yeah, you're screwed, pretty much. You're screwed.
You're literally fucked.
Yeah, you're screwed. So. For the forward aspect, I think if you put yourself with a team who knows how to move the puck around and can actually generate chances, then I think you'll be okay. I also like they kind of brought back the old school perk system, but it's not exactly the same. Before, you used to just be able to nerf certain attributes and other ones were broken. I don't know if that's going to be the same this year. But so far, I've experimented with a couple of builds. I'm still trying to see which ones I'm comfortable with.
I feel like that's everyone, though. Like, everyone's jumping on different builds, trying to test things out right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course. And I'm sure the same could go for goalies as well, because I know goalies have a plethora of things. Since you've probably played more goalie, tell us about that. I have no experience with that.
Yeah, so with goalies, like, there's a lot of goalies you're going to see immediately are going to be the instant 6'5", lowest weight, so that they're huge, but they can still get across the crease really quick. I use that as my primary build, so I use that when I'm playing against guys that I know will shoot a lot, because that means I'm protecting more net. But I also have another build, and I don't know a lot of goalies that use it. I use the smallest height and weight, so they're super quick. So against guys that actually move the puck really well, so like top NHLers, clubs like Night Shift, Rated R, the guys that can cycle the puck and move it, I try and get the quicker goalie build so I can get across quicker and move quicker, so that way I personally can get to those pucks, because read and react as a goalie in this game is huge. The only difference that I don't like so far as goalies is that there's no skill gap. All goalies are really good because of how strong goaltending is. Obviously, there's a lot of the crappy stuff that does go in that doesn't go in. There's stuff like the goalie will save it and it'll slide through him. Guys will shoot it from the board still and it'll go 5-hole because the goalie will spread his legs wide open. Nothing we can really control.
Well, you want to know, to add to that, though, I was watching a video. Someone was reviewing the game, and it actually made a lot of sense when you put it in perspective. Is generally speaking, the game runs a lot better. And
Yes.
hockey is a sport generally known to be random. So sometimes, even though it'll piss us all off to no end, the sport itself, the only thing that hasn't been randomized is more or less the stick lifting and the pokes, but they've definitely did a lot better job with the poke checks. But when talking about you with the goalies and the moving across a lot better with the crap goals and whatever, I think that's just more of the fact that the developers are trying to make the game a lot more randomized, so one thing doesn't get exploited. Now, my only problem is that you run into a lot of people who, and I'm not faulting anyone who plays the game a lot, because if I honestly did have the time to play the game a lot.
I've grinded the game like it's stupid.
Yeah, if I had a ton of time to play the game and also have a social life and actually get a halfway decent night's sleep without worrying about things, I would be a little bit better than I currently am. Not to say that I'm the worst at it, although some people may argue that. I'm not one of the worst players. I can hold my.
I've definitely seen worse than you.
Yeah, well,
guaranteed.
Yeah, you did have to suffer with me for most of the season.
Yes, I did.
But I think another thing too is I think what people need to look for in this game outside of hitting is speed. The way the skating engine is, I think that if you have an edge with speed, I think you might be able to get over on a lot of things that could help you out.
So this is where a little bit of my rant comes in with the game, because there's some things I really like and there's some things that I don't like at all. So I'm just gonna name off a couple things that I really don't like, and to start off with, first is that hitting is really overpowered, and you can just keep hitting the guy nonstop against the boards and nothing will happen. You can just keep tapping him. I don't like the fact that guys that are 5'9", 5'10", danglers, snipers, they'll skate behind a 6'6" power forward and just tap him and he loses the puck. From behind. There's no reason. The guy's 7 inches taller. He's probably got 40 pounds on him. That doesn't happen in real life. They nerfed wraparounds. I noticed that they nerfed wraparounds. It's a lot harder to score them now. It's a lot easier as a goalie to save them. But in retrospect, the turd on net rebound is stupid.
Oh, I know.
You almost always have to use the right stick as a goalie to save the rebound. It's the only way you're going to save it. And if they pass it back instead of shooting it, you're screwed. So there's that.
Yeah.
And then, going back to you talking about the skating and the speed, they got to fix it so that defensemen aren't snipers or grinders or power forwards, and that forwards can't be offensive D-men, puck movers. I want it so that it should be. So forwards are forward builds, defense are defense builds.
Yeah.
The fact that some D-men are running grinder builds, power forward builds, and then you got the guys that are running dangler builds so they can never get caught because they're 5'7", 170, and they're just super small. Sure, they get demolished if they get hit, but they'll never get beat on an odd man rush because they'll come back right into the play because they're so fast.
Yeah.
Unless they're playing a team full of danglers, there's no way that they'll get beat. It's stupid.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Just the other night, I was playing a threes game with a couple of buddies of mine, and we saw, I think it was a dangler on defense.
Yeah.
And, I was a grinder, and normally I think the hitting for the grinder is a little bit better than some of the other classes for the most part, or at least in terms of the defense.
Okay.
For some reason, I couldn't get this guy off the puck. I don't know how. So I actually do agree with that, and it's funny you bring that up because that happened to me yesterday. And I said to myself, is there not any sort of regulation for that? Because then if that's the case, then you're going to get a lot of people exploiting the game by using forward builds on defense. Because, this game tends to, bank on puck luck at times. And if you know how to manipulate it right, then, it could.
What's to stop a defenseman running power forward with one-time wonder? So he's got insane shooting, so that he can pick corners like it's nothing from the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
or running sniper and being 5'9" and being able to dangle through everyone still scores a defenseman like it's nothing.
Yeah. And that that kind of is a little bit of a downer for me. But other than that, I think the game still runs very well because, again, I'm gonna go back to the skating engine, and from someone who's been affected by this a lot, I can honestly tell you that I can play my game a little bit better now because the way that I like to play my game is I like to play possession. Now, you know this because that's pretty much all I did last season was get possession, and whenever I
Yeah.
to get a greasy goal went in, but it works, okay? And the problem is that when I play, I like to do a lot of like I don't want to say pirouettes, that's the wrong term, but I like to move on my edges really fast.
Well, yeah.
And you know
Really
that's,
helps
like,
you
that's
on it.
well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, you know. And I like to hold the puck so that we can move it around. Last season, if I'm trying to go around a guy or try and move, you know, trying to get him to move his feet a little bit, it would kind of drag and it would kind of make a wider turn, and then I would lose the puck, and then the other team's moving the other way, and I'm looking like a scrub in the corner trying to come back.
Yeah.
I play, you know, so when I'm in the corners and I'm moving around, if I have a fast build and I'm moving the puck around, I'm a little more at ease. My controller currently has drift on it right now, so it's a little more difficult. So I'm fighting it. But
Yeah, exactly.
other than that, though, I think it's a good game.
There's another thing I want to bring up is the face-offs. Holy jeez.
Jeez,
If you don't have face-off king, you're screwed.
yeah.
You really, really are screwed in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I know some guys are really good without it because they know the counters, and I know some guys are really bad without it because they don't know the counters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know face-off king is only supposed to be like effective if there is like a toss-up on a draw, both guys going for like backhand straight back, or they're both going for a tie-up. But like, just in general, I find like that is an overpowered trait in itself.
Well, they have to nerf it. That's what they need to do. They have to nerf it.
Or just remove it completely. That would be great.
Yeah, well, you know, Wickedly Moist actually made a post about that, and you know what? He was actually right. You know, for once in a blue moon, we actually agree on something.
Like, you look at some games and the faceoffs are like 17-2, and then the next game you play the same guy, he puts on the trade and it's 17-17. It's like there's literally nothing changed.
Well,
You just added a trait.
well, this also brings me to another thought that I've had for a while, and I don't know if this exactly is related to either the game or the servers itself. But I used to play, quote unquote, I used to play center for a very long time. If anyone knows me from the old school days, and even back when I started back in LG, I was always a center. And I think for the most part, I did that kind of admirably, to say the least. So I was always a good face-off guy. Always a good face-off guy. If there was one thing that I was always dependable on, was that I could always win a face-off. There was a gentleman by the name of Sir Sandman 07 who used to play in the VHL, and he was probably the best center that I've ever faced. Another gentleman by the name of McInnes91. There's a lot of people who are listening to this are probably not going to know who I'm talking about, but talk to some of us old timers and you know who we're talking about. And all these guys were good at center. You know, granted, we all had the 99 face-offs, but even some people with 99 face-offs couldn't win a face-off to save their lives. So they said that outside of McInnes91, I was the best face-off center in the league. And
That's tough to believe because that must have been like NHL 12.
It was NHL 10, 11, and 12.
Yikes. That's you're living in the past now, Dud.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, that's all I have.
It's like Habs fans, that's all they have.
But the one thing that I learned is I know how to time a face-off because it's the same timing when the ref drops the puck. They haven't changed that. That's been the same. My thumb is naturally programmed to know, and even when the green thing says
good timing,
I still lose the draw. Come to find out that the timing on the face-offs, this new generation, is apparently dependent on connection instead of timing.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
It's because the servers are trash and EA gods don't love us.
I mean,
it no longer matters about how good you are and how well you time it. It's how good your connection is to your timing and their connection and their timing.
I mean,
so you guys could both react at the exact same time, and your connection would be at 16 ms and his be at 14. He'll win it.
Oh, I know, and it's the worst.
Stupid.
And it's the worst because when I was on a team with Made of Two Faces back when he was Made of Two Faces, he's probably made up of like 6 now. He, I was the guy who won the draws down the middle, and then when they started to change the game and it started to transition into, straight up, where it's dependent on the servers, because that's when everyone started playing EASHL again.
Yeah.
It got frustrating, and that's why I transitioned to wing, because I just couldn't. It just wasn't wasn't the same. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I can talk about on NHL. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't have much to add because it's still a new game and it's only been out for a few weeks. All I know is like I've grinded the game really hard. NHL 18, I finished maybe like max level 20 in the second prestige. I'm already like prestige 2 level like 15. So I've played a lot of NHL and it's stupid and I'm like really tired of it already, but I'm enjoying it because the game works well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So I'm hoping that they continue to like fine tune it, but I don't want them to change too much because like I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So that's pretty much it. So
yeah.
Alrighty.
I got nothing else.
All right. Well, I guess that's pretty much it for now. What else do you have to say? Go ahead, send us home, Buck.
So I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the Scrub and the Ego. And hopefully we'll bring you guys something else new next week. We'll talk about LG bidding, NHL, AHL, possibly CHL, and we'll go from there. Hopefully we get to see you guys more in the future.